All right, everybody. For those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and welcome to It's Quest Time. Now, before we get going, I'm going to ask you if you can all stay clear of this raised up stage area here. This way, nobody blocks this big display behind me, and it gives me a little bit of room to move around, do the whole hosting thing, right? Now, you're going to notice in your menu wheel on your lower left, there is a microphone at the very top of that. A microphone icon kind of looks like my slide stopped working here, so I can give you a moment. Okay, that's really weird. Oh, here we go. Okay. There we go. Sorry, a little back up here. Okay, but it kind of looks like this, sort of. And when that's clear, that means we can hear everything that's happening in your environment. We've gone ahead and turned that to red, which means you're muted. So if somebody comes in your space and says, hey, are you still on that thing? We're not going to hear that, right? So feel free to answer them. Likewise, if you have a barking dog or something in the background, you're not going to face social ruin back at the campfire by becoming known as the avatar that suddenly started barking during its rest time, right? Now, just because you're muted doesn't mean you can't express yourself. You can and should use this pink cheek smiley face in your menu wheel. When you press on this, your menu panel or your emoji panel is going to open up in front of you, and it's going to give you a wide variety of options with which to express yourself. So if I share something really deep, something really meaningful, and it's powerful, and it touches you down deep, you can just let it out if you feel it building up like that and show the love like that. Maybe I got some backup dancers, backstage, and then come out, right? And, we start breaking into It's Quest Time, the music one. You're like, well, I wasn't expecting this quality performance. And, you can throw up the applause I live for, just like that. And I can take a moment to drink it all in because it feels good. If I ask you guys a yes or no question, you can say yes by smiling like that. You can say no by frowning like that. Maybe I say something funny. You want to show me that you think it's funny. You can show me that you're laughing. You can do the silly faced emoji like this one right here. And then there's this. This is probably the most distracting of all the icons. All right. And this is not how you ask your question. We'll be taking questions and comments at the end. But when you do this, it's to really mainly let me know if there's a problem. So if I'm sitting here and I'm moving my hands around like this, what's going to happen is, but you're not hearing any sound. What could happen is, or maybe like the moderator's turning against me and set the stage on fire. That's the kind of thing you want to use that for, right? So just kind of, use it sparingly. If you press the X in the middle of the emoji panel, it's going to close. And but it's a good idea to leave it open this way. It gives me some feedback, lets me know how I'm doing. And, it's also good to let the people around you know what you're experiencing. So if the person next to you starts going like this, that means they found something funny and you may not agree. You might be like, that's not funny at all. I'm going to go stand over here. And you can do that because this is VR. All right. Now, while we got these panels open, let me ask you all a question because this event here, mainly, if you don't know, is for the Oculus Quest. All are welcome. So if you're on another device, please feel free to hang around. You might pick up some useful tips to help the growing Quest community in Altspace because there are new Quest users arriving each and every day. And, it's great to be able to share that information. Now, while you got these emoji panels open, let me ask you all some questions so I know how to proceed. How many of you are on a Quest right now? Let me see some love if you're on a Quest. Let me see some hearts. All right, cool. A lot of you. That's good. All right. How many of you are new Quest users? Like you just recently got your Quest? Like smiley faces, hearts, anything, or raise your hands up, because you can. All right. Anything like that? All right. Let's see. New. How many of you are new to Altspace? You're brand new, like Altspace users, or recently joined? And new Altspace users? Oh, wow, a lot of you. Okay, wow, that's a lot. Okay, well, welcome to Altspace. I think you're definitely going to enjoy it. How many of you were on an Oculus Go when you recently changed over to a Quest? Anybody? That number is getting lower and lower. There were a lot in the beginning when I first started asking that question. When I first got my Quest, when I was waiting for it, I was on an Oculus Go in Altspace for a really long time. And, when I was very focused on getting this hand, because if you don't on the Oculus Go, you only have that one hand, right? Now, I grew up in Brooklyn, so I talk with my hands a lot, right? And what would happen was when I was in Altspace, I'd be going like this, and I didn't feel like I was expressing myself as fully as I could. So I was really looking forward to getting this hand so that I could do things like this, right? But, as it happened, right, when my device arrived, I took a look at these controllers, and I was like, you know what? That is a lot of buttons. Right, that is a lot to take in. So if you're new Quest users, or you know what you're doing, we're going to go over this a little bit, and this way, we'll help everybody skill up. We're going to do it in a way that's fun for everybody, or else I hope so. All right, so let's take a look at some of this stuff here. The first thing we're going to talk about is this grip button on your right and left controller. Right, now this is going to help you interact with your environment. This is like how I'm grabbing this laser pointer here, right? And if you want to, you can sometimes switch it over to your other hand like this, or just by squeezing the grip button, just like that. right? Even if you twist your hand like this, you can kind of make it spin in the air. If you can see that like that, right? It's kind of fun to fidget with when you're talking to somebody. And you can use this to interact with fireworks, sparklers, some of the cool new Cinco de Mayo stuff they have at the campfire, that kind of stuff, right? Also, if you're using, now, some of these, while these are a lot of buttons, right? Some of these buttons do more than one thing. So like if you're in a world building program, the beta program, what can happen is you'll go to grab an object where you're building a world with your own two hands, right? And you go to grab that object, and then you go to turn to the right, say, right? And you know, what'll happen is objects will get really big, and you'll be like, what happened? What happens is when you mess with the world editor, the behavior of your right thumbstick changes, right? And what'll happen is that the object will be larger or smaller, or if you move it up or down, the object will go away or come closer to you. Because listen, if you're here today, you already know the basics, because you know you got here. Right, you know the left stick is going to turn you around like this. You know the right thumbstick is going to move you in these circles. And if you combine the two of them, you get these big, elaborate circles that make my presentation so much more dramatic. If everybody could do this for me, make big circles like this, because when I look out into the audience, it looks like you're all ballroom dancing, and I want to see that. I want to see it right now. Let's see how you're doing. Let's see. Oh, no, that's cool. No, I hope you guys can see this now. You can. We have a YouTube channel now where you can take a look if you want to feel Altspace famous. If you look up, you've got Raven Eye floating up there right next to Yo Boy right there. And that's our YouTube camera. So if you want to turn around and like wave and be like, hey, YouTube, how's it going? We got Lantern Gamer right here. We got in the blue, we got a funny kid. We got, I'm not calling him funny, that's his name. We also got Daniel over here in this, I think it's that red or pink, I'm not quite sure. Declan Willis. All right, well, that's who we got right here, all right? And we got Cringe Gamer 71. We got a lot of people in here. I can't read everybody's name, but we got everybody's name here. And you know what? While these are a lot of buttons, it's important to remember that some of these buttons do the same thing. That makes it a lot easier. Like for example, your select button here and your right trigger, and if you have your left pointer enabled through your main menu, this left select button here, these all do the same thing. If you hold down your right trigger right now and move through the crowd, you're gonna see everybody's name tag. So I know everybody's name so quickly, like, oh, I know that's Elvis Scary over there. Wait, Elvis. If you really are Elvis, that would be pretty scary. I'm just saying. All right, so let's see what else we have here. Take a look here. Now listen, if you're having a room scale experience, right, what can happen is, what menu? Behind you right again with this. Right. It's important to remember that on Oculus Quest, the main menu is in your hands at all times. On your left controller, this flat button down toward the bottom right here, that's your main menu button, right? And so, you know, listen, I'll be honest, I haven't touched that blue light triangle button in months. I just use that. What I do is I flick my hand out like that and my menu's open. I flick it again, my menu's closed, right? So it's important to remember that if you can't find your main menu button there, that can help a lot. Let's see, what else do we have here? Lose my voice here, that's not cool. All right, yeah, also, you have this left trigger, this is fun. When this left trigger, when you squeeze this and you're moving around, it's gonna cause you to accelerate, right? Whether you're walking or flying, it's gonna help you to go real fast. I can, like, you know, throw myself down in the audience, right? Maybe you all wanna join me. Maybe we'll make a big circle, right? Let's everybody make like a hurricane. Let's make a tornado. Let's make it rain, people. Let's see, real circular. I'm not really seeing it. This is really looking like a circle. Come on, focus, everybody. I want to see the formation. Let me see how we're doing. And let's see. That's not a circle at all. You know what? I missed doing this show all week long, and this is as close to a circle as you can get. All right, okay. You know what? It's kind of like a figure eight. Listen, if you're getting dizzy or feeling sick, you should probably stop. I don't want to be responsible for that. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Oh yeah, this is a good one. We have the teleport button on your right and your left controller. It's a top button right there on either one. Now, if you're in a line dash teleport, which I hope you are, you're gonna, because that's a really fun way to get around. It's like you're flinging yourself around. But if you press one of these teleport buttons, like say on your right controller, down at the floor, you're gonna see a circle appear on the floor, right? It's a teleport target. And when you aim across the room, say, like everybody joins me up along this wall here, everybody kind of up on the line here, and we'll aim across with our right controllers, right? And as soon as we let go, boom, we get thrown right across the room just like that. Now, another thing we want to do is we want to hold down that left controller, all right, on that left button at the top, and then you'll see that teleport circle appear on the floor. And as soon as you let go, boom, you get thrown right across the room. Another thing you can do is you can hold down both teleport buttons at the same time, aim at the ground and make an X, and it'll cause you to zig and zag, right? It's kind of like that. Anyhow, looks like a bunch, slammed into a bunch of people there. Didn't mean to do it that way. Another thing that you can do, which is a lot of fun, is if you go up to, like, say, the stage, right, and you start going backwards, maybe you hold down an accelerator button to go fast, right, and teleport at the ground, you'll be doing the Altspace moonwalk, and I'm really hoping that's not a copyright violation because I really like that bit. Another cool thing you can do with teleport that I recently found out, I was doing one of my shows, right, and I come up the stage a lot. You probably noticed that by now. And I was down here, and there's, circle of the audience come around me. I need to get back on the stage. And I don't know why I'd never thought of this before. It just came to me as kind of a reflex. I moved my hand over my head like this, and boom, I teleported backwards. So then you could do that with either hand. I'm going to try a little left hand action right here. Wait, didn't work. Here we go. There we go. Backwards teleported. It is possible. You can do it. All right. Now, another cool thing to do is listen, a lot of this, like the first time I was, was really starting to figure this stuff out, I was at the Universe, and back then it was held in this really big world, right? And if you haven't checked out the Universe, you should. It's a great event. But when I was exploring the world afterwards, and I walked up to the edge of the world, and I went a little bit too far, and I fell off the edge, right? And I started falling. And as I'm falling, I look over, and there's this cliff there, right? And I aim at my teleporter over to that cliff while I'm falling, and I let go, and boom, I was thrown right onto that cliff to safety. Now, I mean, it's not like you can get hurt in Altspace, but I saved myself from respawning. It felt good, and I realized I was finally starting to get a handle on the controllers, and you will too. It only takes a couple of weeks, maybe a few days. Really depends on how much you're in here, I guess. But it'll come to you. It'll become automatic, because there's going to come a time where even though you're always going to feel the plastic in your hands, eventually there's going to come a time where these become your hands. Right? For instance, if I say to everybody, hey, look out that window right now, right? I'm not thinking about how I'm doing that. It actually takes more effort to explain it. It just becomes a reflex after a while. Yes, that window right there. They'll come and see. And body language is a big deal in here. And these gestures, right, they can be very helpful in communicating with people. Because Declan's holding this, pointing over there, it's like right there. Now, the way we're doing this is if you hold down your grip button, you'll notice that your avatar hands are pointing. Right? And you can do a lot of things with this, right? You can go like this and, give me a Brooklyn hello, that's how we do it back home. You got everybody give a Brooklyn hello. It's like, how you doing, right? How you doing, audience, right? And then you can put them together like this and kind of make the Altspace logo, hold it up high, show some Altspace pride, everybody, just like that. Very nice. Awesome. Oh, I love seeing that. That's so cool. All right, now another thing you can do is twist them around like this, kind of make a picture frame like that, right? Now, if you squeeze a trigger button on top, maybe like you get a little shutter action going like that, saying you're a beautiful audience. That's nice. Wouldn't it be great if you take screenshots like that? That would be really cool, right? Another thing you can do is if you are holding down your grip, your trigger button, you got 2 thumbs up, tell me I'm doing a good job. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm doing a bad job. Maybe I'm going to give me like 2 thumbs down. Maybe you don't know yet, right? You can combine them both like this, right? Do both of them. Maybe you can put them together like this. I don't even know what that means, but it looks cool, right? And this is kind of like what you can do is if you play around with this. Also, if you touch your thumbs, the buttons, or the thumbsticks without pushing down on them, what's going to happen is your thumbs are going to go up and down like this, right? You can combine that maybe in like a cool dance move. Like that, dancing, feeling good, just like that, right? And you're not going to think about how to do this stuff after a while. If you see somebody do, like the first quest time we ever had, somebody came up the stage and was going like this, right? I thought that was pretty cool. Now, then this is what it's like. If you see somebody doing something you like, all you have to do is mirror the gestures that they make, and you're going to pick it up really fast. It's some good stuff. All right, now let's see what else do we have here. All right, cool. Let's see here. We have, you're going to find, like when I first came into Altspace on my quest, I went straight to the campfire, test it out. And when I came in, I was feeling good. I was like floating on air, right? And the next thing that happened, right, I noticed I was like a lot taller than everybody. I didn't know why, right? And I looked down, and it turns out I was floating this high off the ground, right? And if somebody could help me, because on the quest, you have to worry about vertical movement, right? And if somebody is willing to like lift themselves up, or maybe scooch down to the floor a little bit, so we could show everybody what this is like, all right? On fading sphere, you willing to do this? Let's see. Go down a little bit. There we go. On fading sphere, if you press down on your left thumbstick, show everybody what happens. Press it down like it's a button. Your left thumbstick, just press it. Okay. Anybody else want to try this? If you press down your left thumbstick, there we go. Let's see, Rory. If you press down your left thumbstick, show everybody what happens. Boom, just like that. See, what happens is when you press down your left thumbstick like it's a button, you're going to recenter. Now, the thing to remember here too is if you're looking down into it, right? You see, my avatar just went up. It's attached to the head, so you have to look straight ahead and then press your left thumbstick, and you'll snap right down into place. So anytime your vertical height feels off, just press on that left thumbstick, press down on it, and it'll take care of that. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? We have, we have a very important button, but don't press it now, because if you do, I'm going to feel it. All right, I'll know. All right, so what you're going to do is, let's say somebody comes in your space and says, hey, dinner's ready, or something important like that, and you need to leave Altspace in a hurry. The best way out of Altspace is to press this left flat button on your right controller. When you press this left flat button on your right controller, it's going to take you to the Oculus main menu. It's going to give you a choice to quit or resume. If you press resume, it's going to take you, back into Altspace, which is great if you press this on accident. Just say you're dancing around at the Universe, you're having a good time, and all of a sudden you press that button. And now all you have to do is hit resume. You come back in, and you'll still be in Altspace, and you'll be dancing around. You'll be like, I don't think anybody noticed that. I don't think anybody saw that. I don't think you're just going to destroy me with your awesome admin powers. And you just keep on going like nothing happened. All right, so that's good to know. But this is also good to push when something goes wrong. All right, let's say that all of a sudden, you ever get that? I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but when you move around in Altspace, if you move your head and sometimes the whole world moves with you, it can make you feel kind of dizzy, right? or maybe, you move your head and like there's black edges all around the screen. There's like a black void over on the left and you're like, oh no, the void. And you look to the right and it's black there and you look up and it's black and you look down, it's black and all your friends are frozen like this. And something's gone horribly wrong, right? And this void is spreading and you don't want it to get you. So what you can do is you press that right flat button there. And what's going to happen is you have that choice to quit or resume. You press quit and you restart the app. And most of the times, this is going to solve all the problems that you can have in Altspace. Very occasionally, when you press that flat button and nothing happens because your device is frozen, you pays to know how to restart your device while it's still on your head. When I first got my Quest, very early on, I had an error, an error that popped up, right? And I would take my headset off to like restart the device. But I think it's better to do it while it's on your head because listen, sometimes when you have the device plugged in and it's not in a charge cycle and the light doesn't come on and it takes a long time to power up, it's like 20-something seconds, you may get to feel like your device is broken. That's what happened to me. So after that, I just started restarting it on my head. And the way you do this is you take your index finger and you swipe it along the right side of your headset. And you're going to feel this raised up bump there, right? Then you take your other index finger and you squeeze it together on the other side, right? And I find it pays to look down like this, like you're deeply concentrating. And then after about 4 seconds, you concentrate so hard your avatar disappears. You get plunged into the darkness, but you don't let go. You just hang in there. 10 seconds later, you start wondering, why did Oculus make it take so long? I don't know. After about 15 seconds, you start thinking about, friends, you haven't seen in a long time, 20 seconds go by, you start thinking about life, the big questions, right? And after about 24 seconds or so, you're going to notice, right, that, the Oculus logo appears out of the darkness like that signal. And when it starts to pulse, just take your fingers away just like that. Right, and your device will start normally. And this is going to take care of like almost all the problems you have, not just at Altspace, but on your device in general. Very occasionally, you're going to notice that something goes like, when something strange happens, like an severe thing. It pays to know about the factory reset option. Only do this in an extreme emergency because, listen, if you have to do this, like what happened to me, I came out of Altspace and there was this notice on my screen that said Oculus Home is closing. And I was like, okay, that's never happened before. And there was a blue button on the bottom that said, okay. So I pressed okay. I didn't know what it was about. And then the screen just said loading. And it did it like for a few minutes. And I knew something had gone horribly wrong. So what I did was I did the deep concentration pose. I restarted my device. And it still said loading. It wouldn't stop. So I went to ask my good friend Google about it. Google and I go back. Google's always giving me those great tips. And Google said a lot of people were having these problems. And what I needed to do was a factory reset. Now, keep in mind, if you need to do a factory reset, you're going to have to reinstall all of your apps. You won't have to pay for them again. And you will lose any photographs you have saved on your device. And most importantly of all, you may lose your Beat Saber scores. So it's serious business and only use it in an emergency. But I find it pays to know about it. And it kind of gives you the option to put your Quest back the way it was the day that it arrived. Okay? So it's good to know about that stuff. All right. Now, if you're here today, you already know about the Guardian system, right? I mean, you dance with the robot, you played with the blimp and all that kind of stuff. So you're familiar with it. But you may not be aware of is how to use the Guardian system to your advantage in Altspace. And the way that we're going to do this, I'll show you how to do this. Listen, anytime you mess around with your Guardian system, keep in mind, right, especially if you're new, lead with your hands. If you're moving around your area, lead with your hands, right? There's a lot of times in Altspace, you'll see somebody walking along and it looks like they're having a really good day, and then all of a sudden, boom, they hit a wall, right? You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to damage your equipment either. All right, so it's a good idea, especially if you're new, just lead with your hands. And when you get close to the edge, that grid will appear in the air, right? And when it does, you can still move your avatar. So let's say I walk up to my real world wall now, right? And I'm standing there facing the wall. And I've got my hands out like this, and I've got that grid right in front of me. Well, I can move my thumbsticks around. So my avatar is still moving around in VR while I'm standing still in the real world. And what I can do is I can come up over to the screen here, right? And I can kind of line the wall up with this screen here, just like that. And take a look how that, and I can back up and see how it looks, right? And I'm backing up, and it looks like it's doing good. And all of a sudden, I fall off the stage. I'm in the audience, right? Now, maybe you guys aren't really friendly. Maybe you don't like my performance. Maybe you just don't like me, right? And you want to take it out on me. You want to make me dizzy. Go ahead, stick your hands in my face. Just really try to make me as dizzy as you can. Like, really put your effort in it. Really, this is all you got? The hands in the face, that kind of thing? Nothing? I'll back up a little bit. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, that must have been a stage blocker. There we go. This is better. All right, now it looks like you're trying a little bit harder. Now, if you try to block my vision, you'll notice I'm not losing control of my sentences. I'm not losing my place. I'm having really no problem talking to anybody. And that's because no matter what you can do, I still see that, that display behind you guys. And that's like basically it's serving like a reality anchor. It's going to help me feel more stable, so I'll avoid getting dizzy or anything like that. You could also lock it onto something different, like maybe you have like a table or a desk in your real world. Maybe you can line it up with the edge of the stage here, right? That'd be cool. And that can help a lot, especially if you get dizziness in VR. And if you are new to VR and you get that dizzy feeling every once in a while, one thing you can do that'll really help them, even if you're on another device, what you can do is if you look at your hand and just focus on your hand, that can sometimes make the feeling pass. And then slowly take that hand away, take in the real world, and that can help a lot. All right, let's see what else we have. Also, there's one cool thing. This isn't really useful. It's just neat. If you go up to the edge of your Guardian system, right? And you sit there and you get the grids coming. Make sure you got enough room to stick your head through it. And when you stick your head through, that pass-through camera goes off, and you can see out into the real world, right? If you do this really slow, there's a sweet spot where you can see both realities at the same time. And this is cool because it'll give you a sense of the scale of Altspace avatars. It'll give you a sense like they're about 6 feet tall. They're also a lot wider than you'd imagine. And you really get a sense of the scale when you can see them in your home environment or your office or wherever you do your VR from. It's just a lot of fun to try that. All right, let's see. Another thing you remember is that if you're having a room scale experience, right? And let's say I'm up here and I'm like, I haven't hosted in a week. This is a lot harder than I remember. It's really rough. I'm having a hard time, right? I got to sit down. What you can do is you can transition from a room scale to a stationary experience effortlessly in Altspace. What you do is if you walk up to the, make sure you got enough room to look through your pass-through camera, right? Or maybe you're using one of the new experimental features where you can do that double tap right on the side and you can activate that pass-through camera. Do that little double tap and you see the room around you, right? And I got my chair over there and I go on over and I sit in the chair over here, right? I go sit down and I press it. I want to have a stationary experience. And then I'll find that not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. The only thing that's going to be different is my avatar is not going to be down low. All I do is I press down on that left thumbstick. I'll pop up, right? And, I'll keep on going. So you can, do that if you want to be more comfortable. It works in the other direction too. Like let's say, for example, that I want to go from a sitting experience to a standing experience. One time this happened to me. I was moderating for an event, right? And I was like, I'm just going to go have myself walk around there. And I went to get up and walk into my Guardian system. And, what happened was I got a notice on my headset that the Quest had lost my Guardian. That can happen sometimes because of changing light levels. And for one reason or another, the device can't, resolve where it is in your space, right? So it asks you to just, draw another boundary. No big deal, right? But when there's 2 minutes left in the event, it's a very big deal, very stressful. So I start drawing out the boundary, right? I'm drawing out the boundary, right? And I'm like, why is my play space so big? And then I'm asking Lauren, why did I have to moderate for an admin today? Why did it have to be today? And then I'm like, I don't know, Dorian, it's really rough, man. And then all of a sudden, the grid comes right back up. And when it does, I find that not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never left, right? So keep in mind, you can, transition between sitting and standing in ways that work for you in order for you to be comfortable without ever leaving the experience. All right, now, the great thing about the Quest is it just works, right? It doesn't mean it can't work better. There's a variety of accessories that can really help improve the experience. For example, those earbuds that they have that kind of dangle down, it's sort of like earrings for your headset. I don't know what I look like when I'm in here, man, but I like to think when I'm wearing these, I look fancy. And the first time I brought these in, I went to the campfire to test it out. Now, I've been in Altspace for about, I was about to say a year and a half now. When I first tried this, I went in the campfire with them to test them out. And I walked around, and you know what I heard? There's a breeze in the campfire. Nobody told me that. I had no idea. I went over to the railing there and I heard the water rushing by. I never heard that before either. Nobody told me. And, it turns out there's a variety of ambient sounds in Altspace that can make the experience much more rich and immersive. It's really cool. I recommend trying it. Now, listen, a lot of people think that the Quest is uncomfortable. All right. This isn't true, or at least in my opinion. All right. A lot of people I've known people who have returned the device because of this. But what Oculus doesn't advertise enough is that there is a breaking in period for the device when you first get it. The oils in your face will soften up and the balance of it will change. And a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll try the headset on, they'll think it's uncomfortable, right? They'll get something like a counterbalance or weight or something to shift the balance to make it more comfortable. And what will happen is then the break-in period will go up and the balance will shift again and they're left with the impression that's uncomfortable. What you want to do is maybe, if it's uncomfortable, come out. I mean, I kind of pushed it myself like a really bad sore in my forehead when I first got my Quest. But give it about a couple of weeks for the device to break in. And then if you find it's still uncomfortable, you can get things like those counterbalance weights, or you can get, all these different accessories, like, for example, the VR cover right here. I recommend that if it's still uncomfortable because it feels like you have your face in a pillow. It's really nice, really good thing. Now, if you wear glasses with your headset, please keep in mind that, it's bad enough to damage your eyeglass, right? But to scratch your VR headset and your glasses at the same time, that could be an expensive problem. And one way to get around this is to use these prescription inserts. And speaking of protecting your device, the box that the Quest comes in is fantastic, right? But if you have to travel around or anything like that, it's good to get one of these little travel cases here, like we have right here, and that'll help protect your device. Because listen, if something happens to your device and you use it a lot and you have like relationships and friendships in Altspace, if you lose this device, it's not going to be like losing your toaster. It's going to be like losing your friends, and you can experience a deep sense of loss. I've seen it happen. It's not fun, and so take good care of your device if you can. If you want to try in these products, you can find them very easily by going to altvr.com. And up at the upper left, you're going to see where it says channels. There'll be a list of all these Altspace events. And down toward the very bottom, you're going to see Ravenhall events. It says up in the sound booth over there. And if you click on that, you'll be taken to our event channel. And there on the left-hand side, you'll see all of these products listed here if you'd like to try any of them out. You also see a join Discord button if you want to say hello or ask questions or help us out with these events like Dorian and Lauren and Hummingbird here are doing today. I want to thank them all for their help. I thank Raven Eye, but she's a camera, right? People say that it's weird when I do that, so I'm not going to do it. I won't. All right. But there's also, I don't know if you know this, but on our event page, there's the most important button on the internet. It's true. That's where they keep it. It's a subscribe button, and if you click on that, it lets Altspace know that you enjoy our content. It's a great way to say thank you because we do not get paid to do this. We do enjoy it a lot, but when we see that number goes up, it always makes us feel good. So if you take the time to do that, we would appreciate it. All right, now we also have, we're going to take your questions right now, or your comments, or maybe you tried history that I didn't mention you'd like to share and tell everybody about. So you're going to notice in your lower right, you're going to see a raise hand button appear as if by magic. And if you press that, you'll get on my list, and I'll call on you, and I'll get to feel like a radio host. While we're waiting, if you would like to follow us on Twitter, you can find us at _ Uncanny Valley. I know it looks like one underscore, but it is actually two. All right, we have Flamingo1. If that's not your full name, I'm sorry, but they don't show us the full name on this panel for some reason. So Flamingo1, you're on the air. Where are you? There you are, right here, right in the front. So it's Flamingo123E. What's going on? Okay, I'll press you again. You got to press the consent button in order to get on the air here. There you go. What's going on?
I'm doing good.
No? Doing good?
Yes, I'm doing good.
Cool. Do you have a question for us?
Yes.
What's your question?
So you see my hand right here? I'm using
Let's see
one
your hand.
controller.
Yes. Okay. What device are you on?
Oh, this is my first time playing this.
You know what? Oh, that's cool. Welcome to Altspace. What device are you on? You know, like
know.
Okay, that's cool. That's all right. You might want to check out an event that we have called It's Go Time. I think the next one's going to be possibly on Thursday. There's another one coming up in about an hour, but we might be calling that one off. Let's see. Does anybody else have any questions or comments or anything like that? Just press that raise hand button. We're going to get on the list there. We have a Lantern something. They don't show us the full name. They really should. Lantern Gamer. Okay, cool. For all my panelists, it looks like Lantern G.
Do you recommend upgrading from a Go to a Quest, or do you think
you know what?
A nice experience?
That's a difficult question. When I first got my Quest, people asked me which one I liked better, right? And it turns out that every device, every VR device, even if you come in on 2D on the PC, every way to get into Altspace and every device has its strengths and weaknesses. There are some things I miss about the Go. Like, does your controller have a strap on it?
Yes, it does.
Do me a favor, right? Very carefully. I don't want you to damage anything. But spin your controller around, right? Buy the strap as fast as you can. Just kind of like whip it around like that. All right. See, I miss being able to do that. It looks like some kind of Altspace, karate, or maybe it looks like, like Altspace karate. I don't know what to call it. But this is me doing that, right? And it looks like a dead fish. See, look, it's pathetic. I miss being able to do that. So every device has its strengths and its weaknesses, right? And you really like. Personally, I just think it's two different experiences. It's really hard to say like if one is better or worse than the other. Enjoy the Quest very much. I love it. But if I first came in to Altspace on an Oculus Quest, I don't think I would have stayed. All right, because I had some vertigo issues in the beginning, and I found that the Go, not having to worry about the up and down motion, and not having to worry about the complexity of two controllers, right? I found it was a great device to get used to VR. So it really helped me adjust to it. And then when I got my Quest, it kind of brought me to the next level because now I was using two hands and I could express myself more fully. It was pretty cool. All right, we also have Razzie. Razzie, you have any questions or comments or anything like that? What do you got, Razzie? Razzie, you're on the air. Where are you, Razzie? I don't see you, man.
A few people...
There you go.
Sorry, can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on, Razzie?
Okay, yeah, it's pretty good. I just saw a few people flying around. Is this some sort of technique,
Flying around. What they might be doing is they might be changing their height. In certain spaces, they might have pilot enabled so that they can fly. Like I usually let my moderators fly around in the space, just because it helps them out to get better targets and kind of help control the experience a little bit. But sometimes what happens is a lot of people will be doing tricks with their space, like when you lift yourself up and you recenter. It's like if I look down and recenter myself, so I went up a little bit. Things like this, where they'll change their vertical height. And then sometimes they'll do that, be like, look at me, I'm Altspace famous before on YouTube, and then be like, that was me flying across the room. Look how distracting I'm being. It can be stuff like that. All right, listen, if anybody has another question or anything like that, we're going to be doing is if you've never flown in Altspace before, right? We end our events with a cool effect. All right, but before I tell you about it, if you've learned anything here today, please share it with everybody you come in contact with. So if you're in a campfire and somebody is in the ground like this, right, and you walk up to them and you're like, "What's wrong?" and they look up and they're like, "I'm on a quest and I'm stuck in the ground," right? Just tell them to press down on that left thumbstick. They'll pop up and they'll feel better. You'll feel better because it helps somebody, and it's kind of how we keep this thing going. All All right, now, if you have any more questions or comments, we'll be taking up the Ravenhall Flighting Academy. We'll teach you guys to fly if you don't know how. We'll take any more questions or comments that you have, and you'll have a chance to fly the Ravenhall Talon hovercraft. What this is, we're going to be seeing one right now when I press, in case you've been wondering what this big red shiny button is for. As soon as I press this button, you're going to see a Ravenhall Talon hovercraft fly down the street. It's going to go up over those trees, and it's going to land in that backyard area. It's going to come down like that, and we're going to go out there and meet it. So everybody, direct your attention out this window while I press this button here. Actually, if you want to, we can, let me see, I'm going to take off the stage blocker here. If you want, you can come on up and join me and help me press this button if you want to, if anybody wants to come on up here. All right, we're going to do it ready on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Ravenhall Talon aircraft en route to your position.
Everybody look back. There it goes. It's the hovercraft right there. You can actually fly those. Come on out back, and we'll join it. And, we'll go on over to the academy. Thanks for coming, everybody. Let's head on out there. Let's see, where is it? Is it coming down yet? There we go. Here it comes. Here it comes. It's going to be coming down now, right in the backyard area here. Join us outside. Here it comes. All right, cool. Very good. All right, and again, if you have any more questions or comments,
Talon aircraft is now boarding outside for transport to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. Please exit the building and step into the blue light. Thank you.